Hi everyone, so I'm Hilly from the KMS Lighthouse marketing team, and I am joined by Joe Hilder, a project manager at BGL, and Claire Stout, a knowledge specialist at BGL. And we just wanted to take the time to chat, get to know them a little bit, hear about their KMS Lighthouse implementation. So I'll ask a few questions. Will you tell me a little bit about yourself, each of you, and BGL as a company?
Hi, yes, no worries, Hilly. My name's Claire. I've worked in BGL for about 8 years now. My role specifically is to look after the knowledge management within the operations. So that means all the communications, updating the knowledge, and it's also managing and implementing the knowledge tests bi-monthly out to the operations. I also collate the data and do monthly updates and monthly reports out to managers so they know how their teams are working in relation to passing knowledge tests, reading briefs and communication, so their knowledge is updated all the time.
Great.
Okay, so I'm Joe. I've been at BGL Group now for approaching 2 years, and that's flown by really quickly. So I work within BGL Customer Services as a project manager, and we have a variety of different projects within customer services, ranging from something such as new application installations like KMS Lighthouse to updating and implementing business continuity plans and so on. We have quite a varied role as a project manager across customer services. It's certainly varied. And BGL as a company, so BGL was formed in 1992, and the group's grown significantly in that time, both in size and capability, of course. So it started back then with only about 30 employees, and now BGL's grown to almost 3,000. So that's quite a huge growth over that sort of relatively short period of time, really. And it's now a leading digital distributor of insurance and household financial services. So that's BGL in a nutshell, really.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Why did BGL decide to look for a knowledge management solution, and what were your main needs, the main problems you were facing, if you were working with an existing solution before of some sort?
Okay, so the existing system was an old solution, approaching 10 years old. Whilst it has its positives, these were far outweighed really by the fact that it was becoming an outdated system. Difficult to adapt also to our needs of today. Obviously 10 years is quite a big change in the technological world. So it's becoming evident that it was no longer fit for purpose. And also that was coupled with the fact that the server on which the existing solution was on was being decommissioned. So in essence, we had to move forward. But this enabled us to promote with gravitas the need and the requirement to find a new solution. So that's kind of was driven by two forces really, outdated system and decommissioning server. So that led us to where we are.
Okay, and why did you choose KMS Lighthouse? Okay, so within the operations, we did pilot 2 systems. We piloted the KMS, and then we piloted secondly with another system alongside KMS so we could get a comparison. And once we collated all the data and had the feedback from the reps, it was decided that KMS was the better option that was fit for purpose from a rep user perspective and also from an admin perspective, like from a content manager uploading information. It was a simple system to use. The reps loved the search functionality, whereas our previous system didn't pick up misspelling, for example, whereas KMS system picked it up and they loved it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so just as Claire's mentioned there, so just following on the pilots with the different solutions that we had on offer, KMS did become the front runner, not only because of what the application offered us and the build, BGL's tongue-tied, BGL bespoke solution, we were able to do that as well. But it was also the rapport of the guys at KMS. Nothing was ever too much trouble, and their approach wasn't just professional, but it was friendly and authentic too. And here at BGL, being authentic is one of our 4 core values, so that kind of struck a chord with us really. So they kind of pushed themselves forward by the project and by the team themselves. So nice. I think that's a huge accolade really.
Okay, great. That's great to hear. Can we talk a little bit about improvements or any changes that you've seen since BGL has implemented the Lighthouse solution?
Okay, so since everybody was onboarded, we have suggested some small changes, only specifically in the relation when we issue a brief to define against what the reps need to just read only from an information perspective, or against what they do need to read and sign. So we've got a log of when they've read it. Anything that we've asked KMS has never been too much trouble. We've noticed some improvements specifically in your scenario template where you've done that yourselves from your updates. We really look forward to working in the future from any suggestions and collaborating with improvements to the system as we move forward and we get more data from the reps as what they want to say, etc. So yeah, it's pretty exciting times for us.
Definitely.
You kind of answered into my next question, but I'll ask it anyway.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. If there's anything you want to add to it, how do you see the partnership with KMS Lighthouse? A little bit about your overall experience, if there's something else that you want to share about it.
Okay, well, definitely from my perspective, I'm looking forward to continuous improvements of the system, making it for us. We are looking at the moment, improving our MI for a briefing. So we're liaising with KMS to come up with some solutions. And as Joe said, nothing is too much trouble. We ask a question, we get an answer, whether it's possible or not possible or something they would like to work with us. So yeah, I can only see positives in the future.
Yeah, just to back Claire up there as well and just follow on from that. So from the outset, working with the team at KMS Lighthouse has just been a huge positive, really, because they absolutely believe in their product and their knowledge of the design and implementation of the solutions. It's just been exceptional, really. And that makes it really straightforward for us. They believe passionately in what they do, then it makes it equally as believable for us, the client. We delivered our project on time and the KMS team played a huge part in that. I've thoroughly enjoyed being the PM on this project, and I know that Claire and the team will continue to get that positive experience as we move totally into the business as usual scenario. So yeah, I think, it's been a great positive throughout the implementation, but I know that will continue as we move forward into BAU.
Okay, off of that, I have another question. Can you tell me a little bit about like the onboarding and the impact on the users, whether it's the people in-house at BGL or and the end customers, both?
Okay, well, we don't so much have an end customer because it's only an internal system that we use it for. So it's the reps get into the information quickly. So if they're stuck on a call, they can provide the correct information to the customer. And the feedback that we have is positive. The search, they're loving the search, and they can find the information quickly. If they can't find something, they're using the feedback tool, and we're updating the knowledge articles to enhance the search a bit more. So it's a two-way system, which we've never had before with our reps. Our previous system, we did have the feedback, but the reps did not know when we replied back to them for any more information or any information that we needed for them to provide for us to confirm their issue. That is now straightforward. They see definitely straight away once they've received an answer. They can see with the little notification button in the top right corner. So yeah, definitely the interaction with the reps is definitely improving.
Yeah, and that impacts across the customer services as well, doesn't it? And if they're able to give our customers on the phone answers quickly, reliably, that makes a huge difference. And that was something that was lacking before. And if the system does what it's supposed to do, which it does, they are more likely to use it. But again, comparatively against the previous system, that was becoming more difficult. So they seek other means of trying to get that information, which then of course impacts on customer times on the phone, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the huge difference, really.
Okay, great. My last and final question is, how would you describe KMS Lighthouse to a friend?
Okay, I might just kick this one off briefly because Claire's the guru, really. So, but from my experience, very quickly, it's the new knowledge systems. The user interface is really well designed. It's very intuitive and it's incredibly user friendly.
Yeah, so just copying what Joe has said, the system is intuitive. It has a lot to offer from both user and admin perspective in relation to a knowledge management tool. Our processes can now clearly be defined by using, your decision tree template, which breaks down breaks down the process clearly for our reps, so they can understand at each stage, when they click on it, they can go to the next stage, etc. So it has a lot of positives from that perspective, and we can't wait to use it for all different sort of processes that we can use the system properly. And we are, on the last note, we are going to go out shortly to our reps and see whether or not we can jump in on the team leader sessions, see whether we can get some more feedback so we can enhance the system, maybe look at where they'd like to see improvement, and just collate all that information so we can work on it together.
Yeah, and that's a typical point of the project really. We've been live with this now since the end of March, so that's a natural thing that we would do. We'd run it for a little while like we have done, and then particularly in the circumstances with all the, the COVID-19 going on in the background, it's made it even more impressive that this was delivered on time. So yeah, we would regroup now anyway and just go back, like Claire said, and get some feedback and maybe build that into to moving forward with the system. So yeah, it's like Claire said previously, one of the other questions, it's exciting times really. So yeah, great.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe Hilder. Thank you, Claire Stout, and thank you, BGL.
Thank you, Hilly.
Thank you, Hilly.
Thank you.
KMS Lighthouse, Next Generation Knowledge Management System.